And welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast. And Mark and Matt in the house today. No long today, and with his microphone issues last week, we apologize for that. Hopefully, by the time he gets back on the show, he is able to remedy that situation.
Yeah,
and I didn't mean for that to sound like a call out of him. I just wanted people to know it was not on purpose last week to have those sound problems. We try to bring the most high quality Joe Rogan style podcast here at the Rebel Radio Podcast, right? But that's it. But man, so man, we're here today for the new episode, and make sure you go to the rebelradiopodcast.com for all your Rebel Radio needs. As episode 4, what is this? 430, 456 or so, somewhere around there.
450.
Yeah, man. We just covered Superman last week, and still kind of sitting on a high from seeing that fantastic movie, and it was really good. Our former co-host Frank saw it today, and I'll go ahead and say that he really enjoyed it too. So
good. That's
good, man. He thought it was one of the best Superman movies ever made, so he also really liked it. So if you have not seen it, go see it, man. It's got some competition coming this weekend with Fantastic Four, but I think Superman will still play pretty strong this weekend as well for people that haven't seen it yet. It seems to be getting a lot of word from mouth viewers, people that were on the fence about going to see Superman because they're getting good word of mouth. And that's good, man. It's an excellent movie. So it was a lot of fun. But in the meantime, man, it's been a week, man, along with life stuff and then and more life stuff, man. The world, man, is the world's in mourning, man. Let's just be honest, man. We lost a couple of absolute icons this week, and the first one is Ozzy Osbourne, and the founder of Black Sabbath, and a lot of people believe the grandfather of heavy metal. And I'll admit I wasn't the biggest Ozzy fan growing up. I listened to Megadeth and Metallica and Anthrax and Poison and all those hair metal bands, but Ozzy just didn't really do it for me. But then later, as I got older, man, I came around to Ozzy and appreciated what he did for metal and for music, and I kind of was a late discoverer to Black Sabbath and realized, like, man, I think I liked his Black Sabbath more than his solo stuff, if that's fair. And but I appreciate him for what he did for metal and for music, and he's definitely an icon. And I never did see him in concert or anything, but I feel like he was one of those guys that his image in his early years with being the Prince of Darkness might have scared people, to be fair, with the rumors of him biting pigeons on stage or whatever it was. But I think
was it a bat?
A bat or something. But
he said he thought it was fake.
Right. In his later years, though, he with the Osbourne's TV show and things like that, his image changed. He was a really funny guy. You could see that he also was a very caring father, more than maybe showed in earlier times.
Yeah, I remember his reality show. I remember watching that.
Yeah, I mean, his wife Sharon went on to a lot of success on talk shows after appearing on that show, and so it's wild, man. He just played his final show a few weeks ago in his hometown with the Black Sabbath, and a lot of bands paying tribute to him, and it was like he was saying goodbye, man. And he was fighting Parkinson's, and man, just an absolute legend, man. I don't. And there I go having mic issues, but I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite Ozzy song. I mean, it's easy to point out, some of the classic Black Sabbath riffs like Iron Man and War Pigs. Such a great song. And
Paranoid.
Yeah, definitely Paranoid. And Ozzy, of course, has got Crazy Train and some great stuff himself. And
New and Black.
But I really enjoyed that song he did with I was going to almost say Logan Paul, with what's his name? Post Malone. That he did, that was used in the soundtrack for the Crow movie last year. So I really liked that song they did together. I thought that was good. I definitely appreciate him for what he did. Stop doing that microphone. I don't know if you have any Ozzy stuff you want to share, Matt.
Man, I know me. I was late to Black Sabbath. like you said, I listen to a lot of old stuff, but I would mainly, if I was listening to anything from that era, it was Maiden, or some sort of hair metal. So Ozzy was a late thing for me. Um, but I did end up liking his music. No More Tears is another good one. And I like his cameo in one of my birthday picks that I did, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Um, and I like his I liked his reality show going up with where you got to see him as a dad,
Right.
and it was very comical, um, and yeah, it kind of gave you insight in his day to day. But it's crazy that he was just touring,
Yeah.
and even though he struggled with it, he struggled to perform. It's just crazy that this happened, so soon after.
Well, he was doing something he loved his whole life, and that's all. I mean, he's a pop, and not just a heavy metal music icon, a pop culture icon. Damn microphone. I don't know why my mic's doing that. And this is something in the connection, but he's a pop culture icon. He's had numerous action figures made out of him. He's appeared on television shows and cartoons and movies, and he's appeared he's a WWE Hall of Famer, in the celebrity wing, appearing in, I think it was WrestleMania 2 or 3, and he's appeared on Monday Night Raw one time. I mean, so he's one of those guys that transcended his genre of metal into other things. And he'll forever be missed. I mean, he definitely left his mark on the world, undeniably. And then we lost him, but 76, I believe. So a good.
Yeah.
And then today, as we record this, I mean, it's just these celebrity deaths come in twos or threes, and we lost. Man, this one really hit home for me today, and I don't think I've felt this way since we lost Stan Lee. Man, I'm going to be perfectly honest, and it's Hulk Hogan, man. We lost him today, and I know we did a tribute show for Stan Lee, and that really hit home. As you talk about people that shape who you are and your love for pop culture and things like that. For me, it's Stan Lee, Hulk Hogan, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. Now, luckily, those two guys are still there. And I'm a little older than you, Matt, but me growing up, man, Hulk Hogan. I believed that he was larger than life. I believed he was a good guy, and Andre the Giant was a bad guy. We didn't have kayfabe back then. We just thought these wrestlers were who they were. They were good and bad, and we had no idea they were playing characters. We didn't know that when we were 8, 9 years old in 1988, 89. And, and we bought into it. Man, we believed that Hulkster had the power of Hulkamania when he did his shake, and it was and getting the crowd into it, and you bought into it. He's ripping his shirt over and telling you to eat your vitamins and say your prayers. And you believed he was the immortal Hulk Hogan. He was immortal. And I know later in his life, he said some things, and people didn't agree with his politics and things like that. But he's a human. He makes mistakes, and he did ask for forgiveness for those things he said. And and he turned to Christ, and he was trying to make better of himself. In the last few years, he was focused on his beer company and other things. And and I am a person that believes that people can be forgiven. Sometimes we make mistakes. It's not like Hulk Hogan killed anyone or raped anyone or anything like that. He just said some things he shouldn't have said, and but his legacy. We covered Rocky III, man. He was Thunder Lips, so we've covered one of the movies he was in, and that's probably the best movie he was in, because a lot of the other movies he was in were not very good, like No Holds Barred and Suburban Commando. But they were fun. I mean, Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling cartoon, I remember watching that as a kid. I know Hogan didn't voice it, man, but it was so cool to see Hulk Hogan in cartoon form as your child, man. And and playing with him in video games and doing the leg drop. And who was a kid that was born in the 70s or 80s did not try to act like Hogan and rip their shirt open, man? I mean, if you did it, then you're just weren't a fucking kid that liked cool shit, man. And and that's just a factor. Or let me tell you something, brother. I mean, we've probably all tried to quote that before, and just an absolute icon. And then this one hurts, man. I mean, this is right up there, like I said, with Stan Lee, and I'm thinking of recent last 5 or 6 years. Stan Lee, Kobe Bryant, Hulk Hogan, like celebrity deaths that, yeah, we don't know these guys personally, but it hits you, man. It hits you home. And you're not overly like crying sad like we were with Kobe because Stan was 90 something and here Hulk Hogan was 71. They had good runs, but it still feels a part of you is empty because they shaped you. I mean, I wouldn't be podcasting and talking comic books if it wasn't for Stan Lee. I wouldn't be watching wrestling today with my kids and enjoying Cody Rhodes and all the guys today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, man. And, and that's just a fact. And I know you're a little younger. I'm gonna rip this mic out like Hulk Hogan, but surely.
Yeah, I mean, other than seeing him on TV randomly, I did start watching wrestling maybe like mid '90s. So like I think whenever I first started watching, it was around the time where we had like Kevin Nash, Sting, in the NWO.
So you saw him when he went over to WCW.
Yeah. Bret the Hitman Hart. I saw some, I watched some stuff in the 90s, and of course, whatever would pop up on TV, because these guys, guys like Hogan would get commercials and stuff like that. And he appeared in one of, my favorite franchises as a child, and that's the Three Ninjas franchise. He was in the third Three Ninjas movie, which is like, not that great of a movie, but as a kid watching other kids doing martial arts, it was cool. And Hulk Hogan's the bad guy in that film. They have to fight the Hulkster. But yeah, I remember watching that. Man, I forget what other movie I watched him in, but of course I remember Rocky III, watching Rocky III with my dad, and him coming up as Thunder Lips in Rocky III. That was his first movie I think he was in. That's the one where it was so. Like, yep. It's like you go film that, you're done over here. And but then of course he came back. They had to have Hulk back, because without Hulk, I don't know if WWE would have the success it did back then.
Right.
He was such a big draw for them.
Oh yeah.
And his personality was just awesome. His theme song, because I was like, man, I don't have 28-inch biceps, but I was like, I've got to go lift weights today because the Hulkster died, and I did Real American. I played Real American, and I pumped some iron to it. And that was my only way I could think of doing it. Get off my ass and do some curls. But yeah, man, he ripped, dude.
No, I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate I did get to see him wrestle when he came. Well, at this point, WWE had bought WCW. This is like 2002, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is when he brought back Hulkamania. NWO was dead, and he said Hulkamania returned, and he brought back the mustard and ketchup, and I had tickets to SmackDown, and I was sitting like second or third row, and he teamed up with Triple H that night, and in a tag team against Kurt Angle and someone else, and I still have pictures from that show, man, and now I cherish that forever, man, that I got to see the Hulkster wrestle. And I was in my mid-20s at that point, but I never forget that. It was like a kid in a candy store being on that second row watching Hulk Hogan do his thing, ripped his shirt open, wrestle. It was awesome. And so I have that memory. I always have, getting to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. One of the highlights of ever, and even before today with his death, that was always one of my sports highlights of my life, was getting to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. So it's really cool that I got to see that, and we thank him for the memories and what he gave to pop culture and just his importance in the industry, man. I mean, again, WWE, you're absolutely right. I don't know if it exists like it does without him. I mean, Vince tried to push Ultimate Warrior, and he was popular, but people never latched on to him. And he kind of, unfortunately, force-fed Bret Hart down people's throats, which nothing against Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. But the people weren't ready for it, because Vince felt that Hulk Hogan and run its course. So that's when Hogan left. He said, "You're going to push Bret Hart down their throats. I'm leaving." And of course, a few months later, Hogan wins up in WCW and suddenly turns heel, and it was shocking in 1996. I mean, no one saw that coming, when Hogan turns heel. And, and the rest is history. Of course, they made amends later on. And Hulk Hogan always defended Vince because Hogan also understood that without Vince, he wasn't who he was,
Yeah.
And, but, man, an absolute icon has left us. Two this week, Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan, man. Sad to see them go, but thankful for everything those two have given the world. And,
definitely, man.
make sure you say your prayers and eat your vitamins, brothers.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah. But we move on. Man, I didn't watch a lot this week, man, but I did an anime I talked about a while back, which isn't necessarily the most popular genre that we watch, but the second season of My Dress Up Darling came out, and the first season, is 10 just fantastic episodes. I mean, even if you're not into rom-com, romance, cosplay, anime, this show is so well written that I can't recommend My Dress Up Darling enough. It's just really good. Like Jackie would love it, and you would laugh at it because of the little things that go on between the relationship and some of the innocence, but also adult jokes in it, and it's such a great show. And season 2 hit, and there's only 3 episodes out so far, and I'm liking season 2, but not as much so far. I think this is one of those I'm gonna have to wait and see what the payoff is, because I can't say it too much without spoiling it, but there's story threads that I'm like, okay, let's move past this in the story, as far as Koji and Marin's relationship in the show. But it's one of those shows that you could have not even had a season 2 and you would have been fine, because the first season's so good. You could have let it end the way it did and go on, and it would have been fine. And then, but the manga is like 18 issues, so I guess they decided to go ahead and make a second season, and it's hitting Crunchyroll, strangely only in Japanese, and the subtitles aren't on screen, but your captions will work with the subtitles, so you can watch it like that. And so I watched that, and then I watched a couple more episodes of Kaiju number 8. I think I'm on like episode 5 now. Continues to be a good show. And but so just some anime this week. I think that's really all I've watched. Not much else.
Yeah, me and the wife, we are working our way up to the newest Final Destination movie. Just because we saw that it came out, so we're like, we're just gonna watch all the Final Destination films. So we watched 1 and 2. And then today, I on a whim, I didn't know if I was going to go see it or not, but I did end up taking my oldest, and we saw Fantastic Four. And
I don't know how you find time to do that during the week. I'm probably going to go Saturday morning.
I always try to go early. That's the thing, because it's like I get days off, during the week. Yeah. So it's like whenever I'm off on a Thursday and a movie comes out on Thursday, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go see it at like 2:00. But today, we waited until 5. So we got to went to a 5:00 showing. And I will say it's better than I thought it was going to be. I went in with low expectations. I was kind of worried about how this film was going to do in comparison to Superman. And they're different films, obviously.
Right.
James Gunn's
I've heard
very
it's
unique.
They're both good, and they're both unique for their reasons. But I've also heard that the last 30 minutes of FF are very epic.
Yes, yes, the last
like almost
hour,
Avengers. They said almost Avengers level epic. They said it's like really epic.
It is. The last 30 minutes is really good. Obviously there's a big leak, and they have a son in this film.
Well, I mean, if you read the comics, you know that.
Yeah. And obviously his son has the power to bend reality in the comics, and so I won't get into the reasons why Galactus makes the comment of give me your son and I'll spare Earth. But I almost felt like they should have kept that away, and left that for the theater. But it is what it is.
Marvel's been spoiling stuff since they showed a Spider-Man the Civil War trailer. Come on now.
This is true.
Yeah,
that could have been huge, but like you said, it's their MO. They're gonna spoil the shit out of stuff.
That's one thing I loved about Superman. Most of the stuff in the trailers, most of the stuff in the movie was in the first. Well, let me reverse. Most of the stuff in the trailers was the first 30 minutes of the movie. James Gunn did such a great job. I went back and watched the trailers and man, James Gunn's right. Most of this stuff, there's a few shots in the trailer that are later in the movie.
Yeah, just
95% of the trailers are the first 30 minutes of the film. And that's incredible.
Yeah.
And
then, Fantastic Four, it felt like the first trailer that we got, didn't tell too much, just told you just enough. But it's like, then they started releasing more stuff and gave away a lot of plot, some of the surprises. But I will say
good things.
I liked it. I did enjoy it.
I've heard Vanessa Kirby steals the show. She's really great.
She does. She does steal the show. And I thought I would get. I feel like the relationships is what they work on the most. Like of the four of them, all their relationships together. It really is. And it does. Obviously, you flush characters out more. You cut back on the action some, and that's what happens here. I would say it's like 70-30 with the character development stuff versus the action, or maybe 65-35 at best. But it works. I think I was more entertained by Superman, but I feel like Fantastic Four flushed out characters more. But not to say one's better than the other. I like both for different reasons. But it's we always kind of feel like you have to compare DC and Marvel. But both of them are going in different directions.
It's okay to like both,
yeah. And the mid-credit scene, definitely stay for the mid-credit scene.
I've heard it's one of the best mid-credit scenes they've had in a while.
Yes. I haven't heard a theater say, oh, in a while. But I will say the post-credit scene, you don't have to stay for it.
This is usually how it is,
yeah. It reminds me of Blue Beetle's post-credit scene. And I was just like, why did I stay for this? But yeah, definitely, I think it's worth seeing in theaters. Thunderbolts, I couldn't say that, and then a couple of the Marvel films before Thunderbolts, same thing. But Fantastic Four, maybe they're going in the right direction.
So, did they show the Avatar trailer?
They did. They showed, and I was like, was this supposed to be out? Was this out?
Variety announced the other day that the trailer would be in theaters exclusively this weekend from Fantastic Four. Yep. Assuming it's going to be online next week, but yeah. But I'll see it this weekend. But how does it look? Because it's James.
It looks
Cameron.
really good. It looks fucking epic, dude.
Yeah.
It looks better than the second one.
The last 40 minutes of the second one, I think the Avatar movies they make a ton of money, but then it's weird how no one talks about them, right?
Right.
They don't. But the last 40 minutes of that second one are fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. That whole fight on the water, everything is just so damn good, and they don't get talked about enough.
No, you're right. And then it's like the what happens with the kids. It's a lot of nail biting.
Absolutely.
And this trailer, it looks like it's like I don't know who's friend and foe in this film. It looks like they come upon another tribe. Obviously, this one's looks like it's more fire, and I can't tell how they're going to come out on this or tell anything about the trailer. It just looks epic. It looks good.
Yeah.
It's obviously animated very well. The CGI looks top notch. So definitely going to be excited to see that December 19th.
So is Fantastic Four, is that it till Doomsday?
I want to say that might be it till
Or
Doomsday.
Spider-Man 4, maybe. I'm not sure what comes out first. Yeah, I don't know if Spider-Man 4 comes out first or Doomsday. I don't know. It's hard to keep track. They keep changing.
They scrap so many films.
Yeah, they scrap and move dates around. I mean, people still think they're making a Blade film, and I think they long scrapped that. It's like, yeah, I can't keep track, but it might be it. I mean, I'm sure it's a TV show or something, but
probably a TV show.
Yeah, I know Spider-Man 4 is supposed to be out on Doomsday next year, so maybe I don't know which one's first, but it feels like there was supposed to be something in February or March, but I guess not. Who knows? Like I said,
I was trying to find all the different timelines, but they're so different.
Yeah, like I said, I can't keep track of them all. It's just too many films. But cool, man. Good deal. When you got to go see it, I'm excited to go see it. I'm with you. I'm going different expectations than I did for Superman, and I'm going to just enjoy it for what it is. And should be fun to watch. All right. Well, I guess let's get into today's feature film, huh?
Let's do it.
Man, so today's movie is the Hugh Jackman starring and directed by Stephen Sommers, Van Helsing, which Stephen Sommers is best known for his work on the first two Mummy films. And so essentially that's what he does. He makes a monster movie in the vein of the Mummy films, but nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
Basically, the stars Hugh Jackman is Van Helsing, the famous monster hunter, who gets given a quest to go kill Dracula. And then there's a twist in this version where Van Helsing is a monster inside him as well. But somehow he fights the monster within himself and saves the day and destroys all the monsters. I mean, that's essentially the plot of this movie, because the plot of this fucking movie is...
Well, he only gets bit by the werewolf at the towards the end.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But the prophecy says that he's, or whatever Dracula mumbles about. That's the biggest problem with this film is like...
there's a past that he can't remember,
right?
But Dracula does know, and then we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, the biggest thing with this film is most of it makes no fucking sense. Okay, I don't think I've watched this since I originally saw it back when it came out, and I remember when I saw it going, okay, it was all right. I kind of enjoyed it, and watching it now, I'm like, man, this movie, every small scene in this movie or plot device simply exists to get to another action scene. There is no rhyme or reason for any of the talking in this movie. It's basically to give Van Helsing, Dracula, Kate Beckinsale's character, I can't think of her name, it just gives them they basically get paid to say something in the script that really doesn't make any sense, but let's get to the next action scene. It's almost ridiculous and almost exhilarating. And the thing that saves it, though, is the action scenes are good. They're exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
So we don't know much about Van Helsing other than he doesn't remember. So I guess we're both in the same.
Hugh Jackman's ridiculous wig.
Yes, his wig, because he was also filming X2 at this time. And he fights Mr. Hyde. You find out that he is working on behalf of like monks and a holy order in the Vatican to take out monsters. Things that are inhuman, and of course the undead. He is asked to go to Romania, because he is to kill Count Dracula, because there's a lineage of family members that are not going to be able to be let into the gates of heaven, because further down the line, the great grandfather said that they would not rest and enter heaven until Dracula was dead. And so he is ordered to go there and help facilitate this. Kate Beckinsale's brother falls under Dracula's control. And then he's a werewolf, but somehow Dracula can control werewolves all of a sudden. And then, Van Helsing kills a vampire, which supposedly hadn't been done in 100 years. And the townspeople are pissed off at him. They're like, why'd you kill this vampire? First they kill for feed. Now they're going to kill for revenge.
Right.
And he's like, fuck is wrong with you people? And then Kate Beckinsale says he's owed a drink and doesn't even pour the man a drink. Wolverine can't get a drink. What? I don't get it. That's the most confusing part to me. And whenever they are actually going to, he gets infected. There's supposedly a cure. They're going to split, and she's going to go get the cure while he takes on Dracula, because Dracula takes Frankenstein's monster, because he needs the juice, I guess, from him, the electricity to surge from him and bring his babies to life, because they won't live without him. Somehow that's never explained. And, they do this thing where, wait, let me kiss you before you go. But then they don't kiss. And then Hugh Jackman grabs her again. Wait, remember to do this. Oh, okay. And then she turns away and he grabs her a third time. And then he kisses her. And it's just like, poorly directed. And then she dies. It's like, really? And then he kills her because he's the werewolf. He had just got done killing Dracula somehow. Nothing kills Dracula. And then I guess a werewolf bite kills him. He gets her, she gets him with the antidote while he's flying at her because he's still in like beast mode.
Right.
And he turns into human, but realizes she's dead. And they do the Darth Vader thing where they burn her body. And then her Force ghost comes up and just looks at him as it floats into the air. It's kind of weird, but it's action horror, which is why Kate Beckinsale signed on in the first place.
Right.
He did want her to be a vampire, but he thought it would. He didn't even call her because he's like, well, it's kind of too close to Underworld. She won't do it. But her agent found out about the movie and talked to her, and she's like, I want in on this thing. I like action horror, and I guess it is action horror. It's kind of comedic and comic booky, and like you said, doesn't really make sense. He definitely wanted to do something in the same vein as the Universal monster film. This is what gave Sommers the idea to kind of take 3 monsters from that film and pull them together somehow. And it goes as you would expect someone to pull that, someone to that wanted to do that.
I appreciate his ambition.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Kate Beckinsale a little bit. We haven't covered an Underworld film. I imagine one day we might cover the original.
Yeah.
I think on our Patreon we did her Total Recall remake, and
we did.
I remember. Let's be honest. She can't act her way out of a wooden box, but she kept getting roles in the 2000s because one reason and one reason only: she's smoking hot.
She is.
I mean, she can't act at all. She's the same character in every movie with a stoic face, saying a few lines, and looking hot.
Yeah.
And that's what she does in this movie. And I'm just like watching this and going, like, thinking about that the other day. I'm like, you're good looking, but why did you keep getting roles? I mean, they made like 20 of them fucking Underworld movies. And she married the guy who made the original, so I guess that's why she kept getting made by those. And but it's just like, it's rough. And Hugh's Hugh in this. He's not. We've seen Hugh be very good at acting. This isn't really good Hugh. This is kind of a paycheck for him. You can tell. His mind was probably elsewhere as he was filming X-Men 2 at the same time and had to fly back and forth. And it's a lot of. Looks like there's a lot of nighttime shooting. Heavy costume, and he's just kind of going through the motions. I can't say he's a bad Van Helsing because this is a character that no one has really lived long enough to know who the real Van Helsing was like. So, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But but this movie is very bold. There's a lot of cool concepts in it, a lot of cool ideas, but it's way too much going on in it. Way too much. There's like I said, a lot of things exist. Just have another action scene. I mean, if any real action hero would have died 5 times in this movie, but yet Van Helsing stays alive till the end of the movie.
And he's a horrible shot with arrows.
Yeah.
He just keeps missing the shit out of these vampires. Then he finally kills one after he goes through like 2 magazines. Yeah, like 100 arrows.
Yeah.
And then the only way he kills the next one is it was a dummy carriage with a bomb, some kind of bomb in it that made a bunch of arrows shoot everywhere. So he's a horrible shot.
And Dracula's hot wives wreak havoc throughout the film. And, and again, with no acting skills, they're just like pretty faces. And then there's some interesting actors in this, like, what's his name, who came off of the success of Lord of the Rings, David Wyndham. He plays like the comedic, almost
friar. He's a friar.
Yeah, friar. He plays the Q to James Bond. He plays the Q to
that's exactly what he is.
And it's like, dude, you were in Lord of the Rings, and this is the best your agent could get you, a kind of a crappy comedic role in a schlock special effects film. And the special effects, they go from sometimes they're really good, and then sometimes they're cringe. They're like, oh, that's rough looking. I like the werewolf design. They're based on the American Werewolf in London. I think that's really cool. And the makeup effects are pretty good, in Frankenstein and Igor and all that. And you know what I hate about watching this too is the guy who plays Dracula. What was his name? Richard.
He's another Australian.
Richard Foxborough. He's terrible. He's fucking terrible, man.
He is.
And so it makes the Frankenstein makeup and some of the Igor makeup almost look laughable because he's so bad when he's acting with them. Does that make sense?
They saw him in Moulin Rouge, and Sommers was like, "Oh yeah, I want that guy."
He's not good in this movie. I mean, I guess he's not menacing as Dracula. It's sad when we did the Monster Squad, and the guy who played Dracula in the Monster Squad is more menacing. This guy's not scary. He looks like you could slap him with your left hand; he'll fall over.
Slap him with your left hand, he'll fall over.
So you don't have a scary Dracula, and then you have Hugh Jackman playing Van Helsing, who is Wolverine at this point. So you believe that this guy's going to kick anyone's ass, so you don't have a strong villain to go up against him. The first 10 minutes of the movie when he fights Hyde is a better villain because Hyde is kind of tough looking and scary and he's only in the movie a few minutes. I really like the Frankenstein design in this. I think the effects on that are really cool, and it's kind of a more modernistic take on Frankenstein.
They wanted to keep the flat top, but they wanted to make him a little bit more terrifying. They did go with the Mary Shelley type of Frankenstein where he's intelligent and he can speak English, and he's bald like De Niro is in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But like you said, there's good elements in this. There is a direction that they wanted to go. They just, it was a cool concept, but I think this, world building would have needed to take place over like multiple movies. And I know they had a second movie, which ended up being a animated series.
And it was like an anime short video, and they wanted to franchise this, and it made money. I mean, it made like its budget back and then some worldwide, and it just I feel like I really want to say maybe Hugh became too big of a star. He was already in the X-Men franchise, and they just probably were like, we probably can't get him back. His price went up.
Yeah, gross worldwide, it made almost double what the film was.
And but it was extremely successful in DVD. It was like it moved the second most units of DVD since The Matrix. I mean, I think I read something like that, some insane number. That's wild, and I think that's to Hugh's popularity coming off the X-Men films. To think that this little 2004 monster film that makes no sense for parts of it. It's just a big special effects film. Did that well on DVD.
Now it made more than Stan Helsing, so that's good.
I don't even know what that is.
One of those. Ever since like date movie and Not Another Teen Movie came out, there's all these like, parody movies, like,
Oh,
epic
okay.
movie. And this was one of those, I guess. And I've always seen it, but I never heard anything about it, so I never watched it. I think that it's the same company that makes Meet the Spartans.
Oh, okay.
But I guess they took this movie and decided that they were going to parody it. But yeah, that movie flopped. This one, I mean, actually did not do too bad. I
No.
mean,
And we sit and we're kind of making fun of some stuff in this film, but the movie's very entertaining. I mean, I wasn't bored watching it.
no.
I feel like it could be about 10 to 15 minutes shorter. I think 2 hours and 10 minutes is a little bit too long. I think this would have played a little more epically at about an hour 50, hour 55. I think, if anything, you flesh out the characters just a little bit more to make the action scenes make sense, and you get a better actor to play Dracula. Those are the few things you can do to fix this film. Not going to knock the special effects for 2004 because, I mean, they're still really good. I mean, this isn't, I'm trying to think in the comparison. They used the same company that made some of Lord of the Rings effects for this movie.
Yeah.
So in the effects are fine.
Industrial Light and Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and Weta. So they did some of the effects for this film, and and they work. It's I guess a pretty ambitious film, but I'm with you. I think you could have world build this and maybe just introduce Dracula and maybe just the werewolf in this film, and maybe let Frankenstein out of it and save Frankenstein for a second film, and maybe world built it a little bit. Because we've talked about this before. We love the Universal monsters. We love these characters. They're awesome. The Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, Frankenstein, and we love the classics from the 1930s and some of the best films ever made. And it would be cool to see these characters rebooted one day properly. I mean, Tom Cruise tried a few years ago. It didn't work out. I know Blumhouse has made the Invisible Man and Wolfman, but and those are cool, but I haven't seen the Wolfman. I saw the Invisible Man. That was okay. But I want to see truly, rebooted versions of these classic characters based on the original ideas of the Universal monsters with modern effects. And that's what I want to see. And Van Helsing, in its own way, does pay tribute to those. And in that sense, it does a good job.
Yeah, and there was a scene that was supposed to be there. Whenever it was one of the castles, when after the prologue, which we didn't talk about, I guess they make it to where Dracula funded Dr. Frankenstein's project to bring someone undead to life. And so, but it does kind of look like an old Universal monster film at the beginning. Watching that,
black and white scene.
I will say good job doing that. But there was supposed to be a scene with the Preacher from the Black Lagoon. There's going to be like a little cameo, but they cut it.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a fun movie. It's something fun to cover. We, glad I rewatched it again. I might have never rewatched this if we had it on the podcast. I remember seeing this. I might have even seen this in theaters. Because back then I didn't have kids. I used to just go to movies all the time. I may have seen this in theaters.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember. It's 20 years ago. But for a 21-year-old movie, I think it holds up pretty well. It's still entertaining, just a bit messy in the plot. If I had to rate it, I don't know, maybe a B. It's a solid. It's a B, fun B movie. It's a 2004 version of a 1980s B movie. Just ridiculous, over the top action with very little plot, and you just sit back for the ride.
I'll give it a B minus, just because the dialogue is weird and parts of the lore, and then all of a sudden it's like the friar is hallucinating over the painting that's in the castle.
I'll be opposite. I'll give it a B just for Kate Beckinsale looking hot.
I completely understand.
But yeah, man. So it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
But maybe one day we'll get proper Universal monsters back on the big screen, in some version or another. Well, I mean, we got Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein coming to Netflix here in a couple months, and it looks like definitely will be a tribute to the originals. I'm very much looking forward to that. Such a great. I don't think we talked about that enough. That trailer, one of the best trailers of the year. It's fantastic. I mean, it sells you the film with not showing you too much. It's a really good trailer.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. So next week, man, my birthday is 2 weeks out, and we are both out of town for my birthday. You know, you're going to be out of town. I'm going to be out of town. So we're going to record my birthday episode a week earlier, and then we're going to take a little break. So we are going to. I chose for my birthday because honestly, I've done a lot of my favorite movies already. So we're going to revisit a movie that we did way early on, like episode 91, 92, somewhere around there when we first started covering movies. And it's a film that I always felt that I wanted to talk about it again and do it justice now that we've kind of figured out what we were doing after 400 episodes. You know, and I think I'm going to try to get my oldest son to watch this with me because he has never seen it, and have him come on the show. And that is from my favorite director of all time. It's John Woo's classic Hard Boiled. In my mind, the greatest action movie ever made. Sorry, Matt, with your Terminator 2. You know, but I truly think that there's been some great action films in recent memory. You know, John Wick 4, The Raid 2, and Terminator 2 is a great action film. But Hard Boiled to me will always be the greatest action film ever made, and it's a big reason why I love action films so much. So very much looking forward to watching it. It's been a few years since I've watched Hard Boiled. I have watched it since last time we did the podcast, but it's just been a couple of years because this is one that I try to watch fairly often because it's such a fucking classic, man.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to it. Next week we will cover Hard Boiled, and for my birthday pick as a Rebel Radio Revisits episode, and maybe Long will be back on the show too with us. We'll see. As he is visiting his father tonight, and we wish him well. You know, as his father's dealing with some illness, and all the best to him. But until next time, the rebelradiopodcast.com is always for Rebel Radio needs. And we thank you for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
Remember, as always, just go there
and do it.